He has a 1-1 count. That one's struck high. Left side. That one's going. That's out of here off the ropes. You have got to be kidding me. Fireworks. Here you go.
Welcome in to our studio, our makeshift studio, our virtual studio, whatever you want to call it. Caden Nissen joined alongside Andrew Brown. Week 6 Class 4A rankings. Massive week in Class 4A and Class 3A. We're expecting Thursday-ish to have brackets revealed and the road to Cedar Rapids set in stone. We'll be doing a live show on Thursday as soon as those rankings come out and Andrew and I can get online together. You don't want to miss it. We did it for 1A, 2A. So if you have any interest in 1A, 2A and that bracket show and that road to Carroll, go check that out under live on YouTube. You can check it out. But 3A, 4A, middle of the week, we're expecting Thursday because it was Thursday for 1A, 2A. Join us live on IA Sports. Before we get to rankings, though, Andrew, we've got a Class 3A coach seeking some help. Obviously had some tragedy. I'll hand it to you and kind of let you give some information and how people can help, because we're gonna call upon our audience and the people that support us to help support a coach and a family in need.
Yeah, indeed. And the whole baseball family here, hope can come together for Coach Dirks out of Spencer, the head baseball coach for Spencer and the Tigers, and what they're doing. The recent flooding that has impacted many has also impacted them, and it has taken away their cars, their home, basically everything that they hold dear, and material-wise anyway. And it has not only forced them out of their home, but has displaced them and put them in a position where it's just kind of tough, right? Because the rigors of a baseball season already are tough enough, but now you have to go through the fact that you have to do it without your own transportation. You have to do it without the roads really being drivable in some areas. So, don't know how that's working out for Coach Dirks and himself, but it's certainly putting a lot of stress on it, even if he is able to be there. So a lot of things that are kind of working against them. But I think one of the things that is working for them already is they have a GoFundMe account, which we have pinned on our social media sites. You can go to Twitter and so forth, and it's right there up front. You can go see that, and you can click on that and donate some money. Or if not, you scroll down, and there are some things on there. There's items on there that they need specifically. And because in the end, yes, they can't quite get out to all the places they want to right now because of lack of transportation, because of lack of roadways being drivable. So if you have physical items as well, that's the immediate need right now. But ultimately, if you can give money, that'd be great and help out a baseball family. I believe 15,000 was their original set goal here, Cade. But I think and I hope that we as a baseball family can not only double that, triple that, but hopefully quadruple that, because it's not just simply their clothes that they're missing, but again, from cars to their entire house. So there's a lot that they need to go through, and they need to recoup back, and hopefully we can help that by giving them a lot. Again, whether it's time, money, or clothes.
Absolutely. I mean, really emotional stuff. You can hop on the link in our Twitter that we reposted and shared. I mean, they've got the story that you can read on. I mean, they're staying at a church shelter. They gave an update. They're now with family in Storm Lake, and they're seeking a lot. And whether you can help financially or even just by liking and reposting our post, any other post that has their link, share their story and help it reach as many people as possible. They're looking for shoes, clothes, whatever it may be. Really, anything can help. At this point, on Sunday night when we're recording, they just eclipsed $11,000, which is really cool. So, like you said, hopefully we can hit that goal, and we can exceed it and see how far we can go and help a family in a coach's family in need. So we appreciate you guys all for taking time and helping us and also helping them. So but we got Class 4A rankings as we kind of switch tones here. 15 through 11 in Class 4A. Not a ton of movement this week, the week of the brackets, but we do have Cedar Falls hopping back into the rankings. Cedar Falls, a team that's been in our rankings. They've got wins. They've got good quality wins. I mean, I guess wins over Burlington, Notre Dame, and Western Dubuque, class elite teams, classes below them. I don't know how much you can weigh that, but you're winning the games, you're not losing them, which I think is important in itself. But even since then, since the split with Western Dubuque, this team's rattled off 7 straight. One over Decorah, 2 over Waterloo West, 2 over Dubuque Hempstead, and 2 over Cedar Rapids Jefferson. So finding their stride at the right time is Cedar Falls here at number 14 as they enter our rankings and re-enter our rankings, I should say. Davenport North jumping up as we enter our top 10 in Class 4A this week. Hawkeyes takes a little bit of a dip. Southeast Polk also takes a dip. Hawkeyes, Northwest, and Liberty get a promotion. And Andrew, Linmar, the story I'd say this week in Class 4A. This team is they've kind of hopped in our rankings and kind of slowly crept up, and here they are all of a sudden after a 4-1 week and sitting here at number 6.
Yeah, and gosh, they have crept up here to 20 wins. And what have they had? We're taking a look at the wins they've had. We mentioned Cedar Falls there, Cedar Rapids Prairie, that as well. Dubuque Hempstead. They've wins over Ankeny, Iowa City Liberty, of course, as well. So they've had some pretty solid movement here. And again, they've had some underclassmen, and I've said this before, but Linmar has had some guys here, Sarsfield and others that have been very good. And I have noted as there's collegiate teams that have been interested in them, that there is a lot of notoriety for them anyway, or at least notice of them. And Sarsfield being one of them for sure. But of course, beyond that, they've got guys like Mishler as well, seniors like Kramer and Cruz, the junior, Muzinski. I'm sorry if I said that right. I mean, in the end, they have 5+ guys of 30+ total bases. They managed to make their way in. And you look down the line, anybody who has significant playing time of at least 16 games started this year, only I think one has a batting average of under 300. So everybody is hitting and hitting and hitting, and they're hitting it very well. And there's again some guys, some other underclassmen that we haven't mentioned. So again, Sarsfield's one of the underclassmen, but there's a lot of underclassmen here that are making some big waves, and they're going to be known throughout the years to come. So I like what this team is doing, and they haven't, Cade, been the most flashy. Man, sometimes they're not the most sexy team, but in the end, they're the ones that are probably going to be standing on top and looking down at everyone who overlooked them. So I think if hopefully other teams are watching this, you're not overlooking what Linmar is bringing to the table, because if you do, you might get snake bit and you might find yourselves out due to that team.
No doubt. Let's get into the top 5 in Class 4A. Same 5 teams kind of that have been floating around here all year long. At number 5, Johnston, a 3-2 last week, 2 CML splits, and a Prangy win over Pleasant Valley. I also got to mention that Coach Barta reached a milestone himself, so congrats to him as he hit 400 wins. Johnston, a team that's chugging along. I mean, I don't know if there's too much analysis you can even really give, Andrew. They've got a big one with Centennial coming up. I know they got swept by the Jags early in the year. That's going to mean a lot for them, and those matchups are always super highly touted. What have you taken from the Dragons lately as we approach the postseason?
I think last year we had a similar thing, similar look about when they had a couple losses here and they weren't showing as dominant. And I remember there other people thinking, "Oh man, this could be the year Johnston takes the dip," right? And what happened, right? They go on to win yet another state title and etch themselves. They do things so differently. They are, people may not like them at times, but you always have to respect the Dragons. And I think that there are very few teams that demand that respect anywhere they go. I think that Johnston is clearly head and shoulders above a lot of teams Now the five spot may be a little, for a lot of people, maybe too low for them. In the end, I think they are very deserving of a top five, if not more. I think in the end, yeah, they're just that good. They are truly that good and fun to watch.
Yeah, this top five in Class 4A is going to be interesting for the association to kind of split up and manage who's going to draw who in the brackets and whatnot. So
Hmm.
it's going to be really intriguing. Our word's one, and at the end of the day, our word is really nothing compared to the association because they're the one making the calls and they're the one making the brackets. But Johnston, number
Yep.
5 in our rankings this week, sliding up to number 4. It is their foe tomorrow, Ankeny Centennial. Went and split with Liberty. Obviously, Liberty. I think we've learned a lot about how competitive they are. 2 wins in the Prangy over Assumption and Carlisle. Centennial just kind of picking up steam and getting ready for the postseason again. Everybody in this top 5 in Class 4A is just loaded and ready to roll, and really hard to pick and choose between.
Yeah, it's truly at this point one ABCD, right?
It
Or
really
ABC.
really is.
It truly, you seriously could have Johnston number one, Centennial one. I mean, you could have anybody, and in fact, other beyond that as well. There's thoughts for Liberty, Linn-Mar as well. So it truly is. This is something where it's a cool exercise in the end. But truly, if you flip this around, I don't think too many people would be upset with you because in the end, all these teams are going to make big runs.
No doubt. Well, sliding up to number 3 is DCG, and we talked about West Marshall and their 17-game winning streak. If I counted correctly, I could have miscounted because there's a lot in a row, and I said that last week too. I believe it's 18 in a row for DCG. Their
Yeah.
last loss coming to Ankeny Centennial. This team's been on a roll. I saw them in their 1-0 win over Pella. I saw Tayton Gray go yard. That's nothing new for him, anyways. But as he's tied for the state lead in home runs, I believe, at this point. DCG, I mean, we know a lot about this team. We know what their identity is coming off a state tournament appearance in their first year in Class 4A. They're going to be looking to do it again. They've got the pitching staff: Fenn, Smith, Mock. I mean, they've got the bats and Gray and Mickelson, and I really like watching Cross Bandy play. You've talked about him. I finally got to see him in person. Just brings a lot of juice to that team. DCG. I mean, it's a team destined for Cedar Rapids, it feels like, and they're going to be a tough out before then.
Yeah, and right now they're averaging nearly 10 runs a game. I mean, honestly. And that's with facing the Waukee Northwest of the world, facing Pellas, facing teams like Indianola, and then of course going up against other squads as well. And the rest of their slate is not any easier, yet they only have that one loss on their schedule right now. And I remember when in which they would always start the year and get beat up by Urbandale, and that was kind of their first foray look of the season, as it has been for 5+ years now. But good heavens, they go in and they make it look easy now. And Coach Castenson is rocking it. Again, he's taken over for the longtime head coach in Byron Payton, and there's just a lot of legacy there, and it's a lot of winning, and there's a lot of pressure put on that situation. He has not only come in their first year in 4A and navigated them through that to the state tournament, but now he has started to put his mark on a perennial power. So we could see DCG be a perennial power in 4A, and a lot has to do with what him and his coaching staff are doing. A shout out to their assistants, and I'm not sure exactly on names, but I've been around them several times, and I know that they have minds that I don't think could be beat in the game of baseball. So, yes, there's a lot of great talent, but you got to look at the coaching as well. They steer it in the right direction, and this is a steamrolling ship that I don't think anyone wants to be in front of.
Yeah, coach came up to me during the Pella game, just said hi and kind of just caught up. Just really good guy and always welcoming of us around their program, and we appreciate him for that. And they also, I got to bring it up, they lead Class 4A in Team ERA at this point, and the team right behind them at number 2 is Iowa City High, and this team also boasts a really long winning streak. Our ranker kind of gave them a bit of a promotion. It felt like City High was always the 5th team in the rankings, but here they are on another long winning streak in the middle teens. I'm not sure exactly how long, but ever since they got swept by Kennedy, this team has been on a roll. And I feel like for them, it's more based on the pitching. I mean, we talked about that duo that they got at the top of their rotation, and I mean, this team's been boasting some really good wins. Beat PV, beat North Scott, and swept Hempstead. They got a big one tomorrow. It is tomorrow, yes, Monday, the 24th. I guess when you're watching this, it'll be tonight. But tonight at Liberty, the Little Hawks head that way, and those are two teams with really, really good pitching staffs. Expect some low-scoring games there, and that's a massive, massive doubleheader, Andrew, as we head into the week of brackets and whatnot. Liberty and Iowa City High. You got to circle that one.
Oh, for sure. That's going to be one that I think could very well be a postseason match that we're all highlighting anyway. But yeah, you mentioned their pitching, and I was there to see Jackson Schrader, their top pitcher, that strikeout mark at 37. The thing is, though, there are guys who are well above this pitching staff. But as I've talked to other coaches, they go, in the end, it doesn't matter if they throw strikes or not. They get outs. They throw strikes. Do they get strikeouts? Not as much, but they get outs. I watched Western Dubuque have such a hard time in 2 games to muster much against them offensively. And Western Dubuque is one of the better hitting teams in 3A. And I've watched other teams struggle to get anything going against this. And then we forget to mention Talon Young as well, Max Waldschmidt. Those guys you saw before the season, you saw those guys hit up high marks in the velocity on the mound. So it is, it just gets really scary when you're facing them, knowing, man, you've got to ball out just to get one run, let alone the rest. So, yeah, I talk about teams built for the postseason. This is a team that's built for a postseason run, and I'm sure they're not just thinking deep into the sub-state, but deep into state as well.
No doubt. Well, we've got a 1-2 combination, both from Eastern Iowa. Kennedy, obviously, the number one team here. Again, they haven't really been tested too much. They had a competitive doubleheader with Xavier, but besides that, beating up on West Liberty, beating up on Waterloo West. I mean, this team's been exceptional. We always talk about the bats, and I feel like not many people know they lead Class 4A in fielding percentage at this point, and that's a massive tell. I mean, 967 fielding percentage. This team's the defense has their pitchers back. Their pitchers are throwing strikes. Their pitchers striking out guys, and obviously we know everything about their offense. I mean, you click on the home run leaders in the state of Iowa, and there's just Kennedy Cougars just sprinkled everywhere inside that top list. I mean, they've got 39 bombs so far, and that's the big story, and that's what everyone's going to be talking about with Kennedy. But this is a complete baseball team, and it's not just the long ball that's putting them in the win column every night.
Yeah, and they can find a way to win the other games as well. They've had,
Yeah.
Anytime they get in that dominant conversation, they always end up as the ones that win this, right? But they've won some games close. They've won the 7-4s. They've won some 8-7s. They've come up close, and they've had some. And of course, they have been taken down to 4. Prairie did that for them. But in the end, yeah, they win the games that they need to, and they can find little bits to win. Everybody has power on there, and even if 1 or 2 or even 4 guys get silenced, that lineup just has so much pop on the back end. And then the fact of the matter is, then you have to deal with the fact that their pitching is so incredible that it's hard to get muster anything there. So yeah, a lot of teams have succumbed to them, and for good reason, and when you can beat teams like Centennial pretty well, Iowa City High, Linn-Mar, teams that also have matched with the 11 dominant wins on bound, meaning 5 or more runs, like you're in the right track. So yeah, what more is there to say? Not much, but the winners win, and that's what Kennedy's doing.
Well, not much to say right now, Andrew, but we're going to have a lot to say on Thursday when we find out who all these teams have to play to get to Cedar Rapids again. New location this year at the Colonel Stadium over in Cedar Rapids. Super excited, Andrew. You and I will be there covering that. But before we cover that, we got to figure out the 8 teams getting there. And on Thursday, we're going to have a better idea of everyone's path. So be sure to tune in, follow us on socials. You can turn post notifications on for us. I 100% recommend that so you don't miss a single thing, whether it be on YouTube or any and all socials. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in. Class 4A Week 6 rankings in the books. And yeah, we'll see you Thursday. And if not, we'll see you next Monday for those rankings. So peace.